Welcome, 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 welcome in the ring wherever you guys are joining us from today around the world. Welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. So glad to have so many of you with us already, and those of you who are going to come back and listen to the program later on in the course of the day. We have with us today, shortly, the Honorable Vince Roy Jordan, Member of Parliament, and we're discussing today crisis in COVID governance. Crisis in COVID governance. As per usual, we are so privileged to have you guys with us. We would have it no other way, guys. We would have it no other. Really good to have you guys join us day after day, week after week, month after month. And now we're delighted to say year after year as well. How is your Sunday going? Wherever you guys are joining us from, how your Sunday going? Let us know. Let us know. We want to know how your Sunday is going. Beautiful weather outside. Went up the West Coast Babis today, and really, really beautiful weather. And we're going to check in to see if that has any possibility of changing later on as the day proceeds. We're going to check in on that in just a bit. But guys, we are so privileged to have each and every one of you joining us. Narayan B. Pat, good to see you. First up, Paul 63 joining us on YouTube, and Narayan B. Pat. Alio Waldron Alt. What is the alt for? Alternate pace and power in 2026. Guys, let us know how you're receiving our audio out there. Wilma Grant joining us from Brooklyn, New York, New York Avenue. Tessa Isaacs, Graves Andy's joined us as well. Edwin Bess is here too. Penelope Hudson. I see Sharma Grant Melville is here too. Patricia Amsterdam. George Annan is here as well. And we want to say thanks to all you other fantastic folks. Sometimes the comments are going by so fast we can't pick up the name fast enough. Pamela Sanchari, good to see you. Or Sanchari, good to see you. Sanchari. Is it uh, Tasha? Tasha Silat? Tassa Shilat? Silat? Sharon Griffith. Oh my, William Kosher. Good to see you, William. Guys, what kind of a Sunday are you guys having? What kind of a Sunday are you guys having? Alia says that she's been blocked from Facebook for 30 days and she's on a backup page. So that's the alternate page. You see, when you're bad like Alia, you can get blocked steady. Guys, so good to see so many of you. Hundreds of you have already joined the live stream or have already joined our podcast, Below the Belt. Guys, I feel like a tad bit under the weather. Nonetheless, we're gonna rally. We're gonna rally, guys, because that's what we gotta do. We gotta keep pressing forward. We gotta keep pressing forward. Good to see so many of you already joining the live stream. Maureen Chester Paul, we see you there. Maureen Chester Paul, we see you, Maureen. Amanda Daniels, see you too. Good to see you, Amanda Daniels, and all the other folks who are joining us. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Guys, it's our privilege hosting you from around the world. You're joining us from the national capital city of Georgetown, Guyana, where the weather is fairly decent. The weather outside is fairly decent currently. Guys, wherever you're joining us from, ensure that you share the live stream as you come on. Andrew Cuthbert, we see you there. Ngozi, is it? The names again are running by so fast. Irshad Dijon. Good to see you, Irshad, joining us all the way. Well, Tasha Silas is joining us from France, all the way from France. Fantastic. Folks, that's why we call it International Podcast. We have listeners from around the world. And, really and truly, we could not ask for more. We could not ask for more, guys, really and truly. So fantastic to have so many of you who are joining us. And let us know, since you're joining us during the course of lunch, how things going by your end. What pot y'all bubbling? What pot y'all bubbling at your end? Let us know. We'll be eager to know what you guys are doing at your end. Let us know how things are going where you are. We have a church that now streams on our page, and we hope that for those of you who want to keep on that high note for the new year, to join that program. It's aired on Sunday mornings on on our pages around 11, around 10, 11 o'clock. It comes on. I'm going to get the exact time to be able to share that with you. But we encourage you guys to join that program as it comes on our page, on especially the Sharon Avery Duncan page. That's my Facebook page. I encourage you guys to join that program when it comes on. So many things we're following, guys. So many things we are following at our end. The teachers union, as we are talking this morning about the crisis we have locally in COVID governance, the teachers union have come out very strongly to register their protest against what it considers the breaching of distancing guidelines by having two students sitting together. We really got to turn the corner at COVID. But it cannot happen when we all not pulling in the same direction. And if you guys want to be fair out there, the government has been saying one thing, the installed regime has been saying one thing, but they've been doing something quite contrary. The practice is different. The preaching different from what they're practicing. And so the teachers union, the Guyana Teachers Union, the GTU, they are calling on the ministry to desist from breaching the distancing guidelines by having two students sit together, right? Sit together, right? They're asking the ministry to desist from that. And there are other things happening on that front too. There are other things happening on that front um, in the education sector, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that as the program proceeds, guys. As the program proceeds, but we want to welcome you, those of you who are now joining us. We're talking about crisis in COVID governance locally, and we'll be talking very shortly. Yeah, we'll be talking very shortly with the one and only Vince Roy Jordan, our member of parliament. We'll be talking with him shortly. And so, share the live stream in the meantime. And we want to see those comments where you're joining us from and what you guys perhaps are having for lunch today. We know it's Sunday and people tend to do things differently on Sunday, where lunch and so on is concerned. So we want to know. We fast. We want to know what we all doing for lunch. We want to know what we all doing for lunch. All right. So let us know that. Let us know that a number of other things happening. We're telling you more and more about what's happening in the education sector. More and more about what's happening in the education sector. So again, the Guyana Teachers Union, this morning telling us that they're not in favor with the ministry sitting two students. The ministry sitting two students per bench in the public school system. They are registering their protest where that is concerned. And in addition to that, wherever you're joining us from around the world, ladies and gentlemen, the Guyana Teachers Union also, they are encouraging teachers to have an isolation day. Hold on for that. They're advising their teachers to take an isolation day from tomorrow, Monday. That is what is being advised, an isolation day from Monday. One of the first places we saw this report is out of Starbucks News. And I'm just going to read just the first part of this article here. It says the Guyana Teachers Union has written to its members urging them to take an isolation day from tomorrow in light of the current spike in COVID-19 members among teachers and students. The union has taken a position to have an isolation day from school on Monday, January 10th. This day will be set aside for no face-to-face or virtual teaching. The GTU has written to the Ministry of Education urging them to close all schools from face-to-face engagement for 14 days, during which teachers will teach virtually. We believe that our teachers can only teach if they are alive, and students can learn when they are healthy. A nation's health is its wealth. We ask every teacher to yield to this call and stand in solidarity for saving lives. This is quoted. This quote is being attributed rather to President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mr. Mark Light. And folks, we learned that scores and scores of teachers just this past week were coming down positive for COVID-19. And so, again, the Guyana Teachers Union has come out there and taking a very, very strong stance. It says the teachers can only teach if they're alive, and students can only learn if they are healthy. Folks, we got hundreds of comments already. I see dozens of emojis you guys have shared with us, but we want to see those shares as well so that other persons can be able to benefit from the broadcast as well crisis in COVID governance, folks. The numbers are going up daily. The COVID numbers are going up daily. We're tracking those things. We're tracking those things. We're tracking those things. The COVID numbers are going up daily. Folks, things getting rough here on the COVID front. And I'm seeing some very, very harsh comments from very, very harsh comments coming from segments of society across social media, right? Across social media, and we are following that in terms of the management of COVID-19, where the government is concerned. Where the government is concerned, some very, very harsh comments where the management of COVID-19 is concerned, and especially as regards the education sector, especially as regards the education sector. Lots of harsh comments. People do not like what they see operating in the school system, how they see the government COVID governance in the education sector. Very, very poor, very, very poor on all accounts, very, very poor on all accounts. And so the administration, the regime is currently on its back foot, trying to push back against some of the some of the statements or some of the positions that are being taken by the Guyana Teachers Union in particular. But I don't think they can convince anybody at this point that they have the COVID-19 situation under control. I think nobody's going to be persuaded by that at this point. Nobody. And so we're watching, guys. We're watching, and we're going to continue to keep you guys updated on all our channels as things progress locally. We're going to keep you guys updated, but not a good look at all. Again, yesterday was another day where there were hundreds of persons who were COVID positive. And I want to get that figure accurately for you in just a bit, guys. But welcome to the podcast, those of you who are now joining us. And wherever you guys are joining us from, we want to bid you welcome. And we are going to have MP Vince Roy Jordan with us shortly. And we're going to be talking to him about this administration's very, 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 very poor governance. So bear with us on that front. Take a second and share the live stream as we bring MP Vince Roy Jordan into the studio. Just take a quick minute and do us the biggest favor and share the live stream. We don't want to get what do you call it? What is the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking? We don't want to get complacent. We don't want to get complacent by any means. And so we want as many persons to receive this credible and valid information. We're trying to bring MP Vince Roy Jordan into the studio. We know he's been having a busy morning at his end. We know this is a man who's on the ground, always working, always pushing forward. And we're going to try to have him on shortly. So bear with us on that front, folks. And I think we do have MP Vince Roy Jordan on the line with us, folks, live on our podcast below. But again, thanks for those of you who are joining us around the world. We see all of you out there. We might get a chance to give all of you a shout out because, as we say, the comments keep going by so fast. Folks like Leonard Jacobs, Sarah Coppin, Faye Ferdinand, Sandra Goodluck Semple, Leonard Jacobs, Kendra Sears, Roxanne Benjamin, Giddings, Beatrice Selby, Erica Hooper. We see you guys out there. MP Vince Roy Jordan, we know it's a busy day for you. What's happening at your end? And how are you?
Hi, Sharon. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me again.
It's our privilege to have you. It's our privilege to have you, MP.
Yes, and my end, I can tell you, West Coast of Berbice is very peaceful at the moment, but we're having a challenge facing the COVID-19, the rise in numbers.
Well, that's our topic for today. So go right ahead.
Oh, and the worry is our school children, and as a representative of the people, my biggest fear is our school children returning to school tomorrow and have to face with the challenge of being infected or reinfected, I should say, because over the weekend and the latter part of last week, a number of parents would have communicated to me of how the children went to school and I'm talking about those from nursery right up to secondary. And from school, they came home with fever, cough, cold, vomiting, and diarrhea. And then teachers complain over the weekend also, Sharon, and a number of children testing positive for COVID-19. Subsequent to that, Rosenthal Secondary has since been closed. Bushot Secondary has been closed. Um, Novar Secondary has been closed. It is alleged that Fort Wellington Secondary has a number of cases also. That is yet to be confirmed. And also Bellodrome Secondary. So it is very worrisome here in Region 5 to know that our children and teachers, that they have to go through such challenge just to meet uh, to the crossroad of being educated or either educating someone. And so I think it is really a challenge
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Region 5 at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm looking at some of the numbers here, and yesterday, MP Jordan, they were 1,016
Right,
confirmed new cases, right? With active
right,
cases being 5,258. Of course, we've had 44,245 confirmed cases nationally, but active cases being 5,248. In Region 5, where you are, MP Jordan, there are 1,620 confirmed cases, active cases currently. Well, sorry,
right,
1,620 confirmed cases.
right. And that is for a small region like region number 5. And one of the things as I continue to say um, is that with that 1,620 cases, um, our health system or healthcare system rather in Region 5 does not cater for more than 12 beds, 12 to 15 beds
Mhm.
at the bad settlement, what you call it, COVID-19, the health post that is there. And so I'm not wondering, I'm worried, Sharon, should more of our people take down in severe sickness due to the COVID-19, meaning breathing problem, those with comorbidities and other underlying conditions having to go and be in isolation or be hospitalized. Where will these people go? Because I know Liliendal is already filled and Region 5 has such small capacity. It is worrisome on my part and the residents. They keep calling upon you daily, asking what is it that the Minister of the Health install as the B is doing, and what measures can they take. Teachers are worried, parents are worried, workers are worried because at the regional Democratic Council, the office there, we have reports of a number of staff testing positive also. I understand the accounting department, they have COVID-19 cases there. In the engineering department, they have COVID-19 cases there. And nothing is being done. The staff complained that all they did was to sanitize the building and then told them return to work immediately. And
Wow.
one would want to believe that having such large numbers, we would return to probably the rotation system, or let us say the curfew coming back to 6 o'clock, and workers being on that rotation shift system. So you would actually try to reduce the spread and the contact that people will actually make on a daily basis. But instead of that, work remains as per normal and school has resumed. And since school has resumed, you see additional spike in the cases, Sharon.
Yep. It gives us the impression as though there is nobody at the wheels. There's nobody at the wheels where managing COVID governance is concerned. And there is just an attempt to have the status quo remain. I saw some comments coming out of the regime that suggest again they are going to dig in their heels. They're not going to close school. The teachers have signaled MP Jordan that they are going from on an isolation day, the teachers union from tomorrow, and the
Right.
teachers union
Yes.
very concerned about this two-child per bench. We're taking COVID seriously as a government. This regime is not, and we've highlighted on our programs time and again the duplicity, the hypocritical nature of what they preach and what they practice.
Right. And I fully support the teachers or the union rather making that step to have their teachers um, go on this isolation. I think it starts from tomorrow, the day, and then they're asking for the 13 days. So it will be 14 days in total where they would be at home. And then thereafter assess the situation and see where the school, should resume face-to-face classes.
What sounds
I
reasonable.
fully endorse that. And I think parents should join in the support with these teachers by keeping their children at home, sacrifice another 2 or 3 weeks, teach them a little, have work from probably the teachers or probably somebody in the family is capable of teaching, rather than sending them and putting them at risk where they will come back and um, infect not only the parents but also grandparents and those sickly at home, elderly and all of that. And so I fully support the teachers in that move, and I'm prepared to join in solidarity with the teachers in whatever action they would have to take in my region. And so I would want the president of the union and my colleague Coretta, the general secretary, to know that I am prepared to stand by them in this time of the fight. Not because it is not political at this point, but it's because we have lives to save, and it is important that we protect not only our teachers but our children.
Fantastic point. And we should caution the teachers union, all of us, that I highly doubt any rational thinking parent will want to keep their children at home without any reason at this point, because the kids have been at home a little while and we'd love to see them go back out in a perfect
Right.
world and to receive their education, to get instruction and to learn. But no parent will want their child in an environment where they're uncertain, especially exposing them to the hazards of COVID-19. And we know this is no joke. We got COVID-19, we got the variant Delta, we got the other variant, the IHU, and all of that. And I think because the government too, their PR apparatus is so poor, there isn't a lot of educating the public where COVID-19 and on their own progress. And then when people seeing every day the numbers are going up, when schools are reporting case after case, teacher after teacher, student after student, contracting COVID-19, how do we expect parents to react? And then I see a very, very silly comment. Let me see if I can get that for you. A very, very silly comment. I think this is out of the Chronicle. It says teachers and students did not contract COVID at school. How you know that? How could the Minister of Education says that? They
How can they
contracted
determine
at
that?
the community level. How do you know each and every child who contracted COVID, each and every teacher contracted that at the level of the community? They ain't doing no what you call it, back tracing. They aren't doing
No, no,
any back tracing.
no, Sharon. I'm glad that you raised that, and I put this on record here. If the Minister of Education was willing to learn or listen to others, um, the former Minister of Health, Ms. Valda Lawrence, wrote, I think it's about 2 weeks ago, just before school reopened here. She said, let the ministry give each child, each school rather, or just push back the schedule opening of schools by 1 week so
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
those children who might have contracted COVID-19 from probably parents, those teachers who might have contracted COVID-19 from probably being out during the holiday would have a chance to develop the signs and probably start having the symptoms. So within that week, you will have a window period as to whether, you will know. So teachers will not return to school knowingly that they're sick, or children will not return to school. And if Priya had done that, not being egotistic and thinking that she knows it all, if she had done that, she would have been able to manage the situation as it is now, because she would have known clearly whether they contracted it from home or at school, because they would have been at home at the time when they were sick. But she can't tell the nation now that the children or teachers did not contract COVID-19 at school. What measures did she use to determine that? If she had used the advice of Miss Valda Lawrence, and wisely instruct the chief education officer to say, listen, give them another week or two. Let us see, because of the whole movement during the holiday, children left Region 6 and went to Region 10. Teachers left Region 4 and went to the hinterland. Teachers left Region 4 and came to Borbies. Let us give them a 2 weeks to just see what is happening among them, if any will fall sick, if any would have contracted. And then, because we know they're settling back, then they're going to return to work and school at a later date, in 14 days' time. That would have been much wiser to do, Sharon, than to now come and say that they would have been contracted COVID-19 from the community.
Yep. And then, one of the strangest thing, they always want to quote UNICEF by saying children must go out to school. But UNICEF has always added a caveat that based on what is operating on the ground. Yes, we want our children to go
Mm-hmm.
to school, but not where COVID is running rampant in the society. And I see Mark Doris here makes a very great point. In response to them saying that they contracted COVID from the level of the community, Mark Doris on the live here makes the point that the school is part of the community. The school is not in a
Exactly.
vacuum, it's part of the community. All right. So
Right.
they never
You
take
know,
blame for anything. You cannot tell me you have backtraced each and every child and teacher who has contracted COVID-19, and you know definitively they didn't bring it in. They it wasn't obtained from the or contracted or they got infected from the school environment. It's madness. This is distraction, as far as I'm
right.
concerned.
Yeah, so I strongly believe that we don't have um, a functioning minister of education nor minister of health, because they're not hearing the voices of the people. They're not understanding by using their eyes to see what is happening in the nation. And clearly, we know that they don't have a plan for none of the ministries,
This will happen when you
because
install
I
people.
I, I hear the Minister of Education talk about children returning to school. Yes, we're in support of them returning. Yes, we're supportive of them learning, but then it must be done in a structured manner, a manner whereby we have a plan. They must put a plan to the teachers. Look, Sharon, I can tell you this: teachers in Region 5 have not yet received any work program from the ministry, and 1 week has since passed, and they're in school. You know what they're told? To do what they know to do, to teach the children from what they know. No workbooks, no work program, nothing, no schedule, nothing was sent to the schools. But school was reopened. It clearly shows us, or tells us as a nation, that they don't have a plan.
Wow, wow. And you know what is
They don't.
frightening? You know what is frightening on top of that, Vintroy? They had a big launch of their education strategic sector plan, which should be guiding them for the next 5 years. My God, that itself leaves much to be desired. The Education Strategic Sector Plan 2021 to 2025, the Ministry of Education, that is. And here, what is the theme of the plan? MP Jordan, here is the theme of the plan, viewers and listeners around the world. Education for all, innovation, innovative teaching and learning in a global pandemic. Yep,
that
yep,
that
innovative teaching and
that
learning in a
term,
global pandemic.
that is just that is just for photo op.
Yep,
It is just to
yep.
make the news
Words on
of
a
the
paper.
day. It is an empty shell. It's like the plans that the Ministry of Social Services, Human Services rather, that they had. I think it was something with child care, and a year has since passed. They launched, and until today, nothing started.
Yep,
You
yep,
know,
yep, yep,
so
yep.
it is just for the moment, the photo up for the moment. And I'll go so far to say to you, Sharon, there are a number of nursery schools in Region 5. And this has nothing to do with the education department. This is the ministry at fault. Priya took a couple $1 billion, I don't know if you can recall, to do this education smart classroom initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she was piggybacking on what Minister Nicolette Henry would have left. And Priya sent televisions and these things to schools to start the smart classroom. And none of the schools have internet service, Sharon. How ridiculous is that? A
Yeah.
smart TV works with internet service. That's the first thing you must know. To top it off, two of the schools that I know, but I don't want to get into just in too much of a fight with them. Two of the schools have no point, no electrical points for the TVs to be plugged in.
Wow. Wow.
So you understand the position. So I am wondering what really came out of the training and all these things for the smart classroom. I'm really wondering,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the smart education program,
Well,
because it seems as though it's a waste of taxpayers' dollars.
I tend to agree with you. MB Jordan, these classrooms are perhaps too smart because we were telling our viewers on our affiliate program in the ring just during the course of this last week that we got reports out of Hope Secondary School. There's a mosquito farm there in the school. So these
They,
classrooms
I,
too smart. There's a whole mosquito
yes,
infestation there. And then we on the other side of the bank, that's from the on the east bank at Mokanoshi School, there was a bee infestation. Africanized bee infestation there. So these
African,
classrooms apparently too smart under this government.
right? You know, I'm really much as a matter of fact, I shouldn't say I'm really much surprised in this story. Um, One teacher said to me a few days ago, she said that since the education system been good, let me use some creoles. It been good, and since Priya touch it again, it's pocketary,
Yep,
more and more
yep,
problems.
yep, yep.
You know, so it's like every time these people come, is a resurface of troubles, hardships, difficult man, Sherrod. They need God. Today's Sunday. They need God,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. But I hope they went to church today or the masjid or the temple,
You
and they
know,
call on whoever
yeah,
they recognize as the Almighty.
they need God. That's all I can say. Oh
MB,
my God.
yep, yep. MB Jordan, during the course of this week here, folks who are now joining us, welcome to our podcast. We are privileged to be joined by MP Vincroy Jordan out of region 5 and 6, 5 in particular. Bring us up to date with, what's happening locally with COVID governance. Those of you who are joining us from around the world, we welcome you to our podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex, vex, who vex, lose. We see hundreds of you are tuned in. Sandra Facey, Maureen Chichester, Paul, and Gloria Chester. Good to see you, Gloria. Mark Doris is here too. Sandra Batista Baptist. I see Maureen Coppin Williams, Samuel Mingo, Orindon Cook, Maggie Benjamin, all you fantastic folks. Take the liberty of sharing the live stream. And we want to see those emojis as well. And we want to see the shares. MP events, Roy Jordan, following some events closer to your end, they were, well, in Region 6. We were saying just again during the course of this week here, respect and manners to Region 6 Councillor Colin Moore, the councillor there in Region 6, Colin Moore, because he brought to his council some very, very strong questions. For instance, one of them is why at the New Amsterdam Public Hospital, COVID patients are being housed in the same area that they're doing the COVID testing? That was an important question. Maybe you have the answer.
But Sherrod, I can tell you, probably the three ministers of health that we have, they have the answers. Because I can tell you, anybody in their right sense would know that if you're testing here, as a matter of fact, you would not want to bring anybody, whether you're testing or not, anybody into a location where you're housing those that are infected.
Mm-hmm.
You would not
Mm-hmm.
want to bring them. And I cannot understand when you have such a large facility, you have a number of health centers across the region, you have health posts and so on, and you have buildings that you can rent. And I'll talk about buildings just now, about $1 million in a little bit. But other locations that you can use to do testing, and also how those patients who are infected, how in God's name you're gonna put both systems, both services in one place? It is quite ridiculous. It is craziness, sir. It is madness to the highest level. And
Yep.
it goes
Yep.
to show that we don't have a functioning health minister. We have a man that is seated there just because he was installed. He just say, look, I'm going to be there. And I would want to piggyback on your terms. Frank give up, but they're just forcing Frank to hold the line. I
Mm-hmm.
strongly believe the top give up. Frank had some hardships. Frank said, listen, I ain't able to this thing anymore. I give up. As the one mayor, I'm going to sit and I'm going to just be here because I don't know what else to do. That is what Frank is saying. And I believe that they should lose the muzzle from around Frank's neck. Say to Frank, you can go and get somebody else to do the job. Get somebody else to do it. Because Frank was the first guy to condemn what the Lillian Dal, which is a hospital, which is now a savior to the PPP government
Yep.
and the ridiculous management of
Thanks, Waldo.
COVID-19
Thanks,
in this
Granger.
country. That Lillian Dal hospital and former Minister of Health, Waldo Lawrence, they played the role of being a savior with the wisdom that she used and the former government to ensure that such a facility was set up. And now we see that it is a rescue ground for many Guyanese and many persons who are infected. That is the place where they go. And because these people just don't know to do anything, when they go there now, they make the place into a monster. People are scared to go to Lillian. People are afraid because of the services, because of the system, because of what happens in the place now. First, it was condemned. It was the worst thing. We used the money and we
Oh,
did it,
yes.
everything.
They said it was a
At one
shell.
time,
I remember that
it was a
clearly. It
shell.
was a shell.
It was a shell. But it is the same shell. And if we do the math, we check the record, it is the same shell that would have had hundreds of patients come in. And if I'm not wrong, probably they reach a thousands now, come in
Yep.
and some go out. And for some odd reason, a lot died also. But I'm saying that it played its role in saving lives of a number of Guyanese because they have not done anything to enhance the services there. They're merely using the same services that were prepared by Waldo Lawrence and the APNU AFC government.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that it
Mm-hmm.
is worth the while doing,
Yep, yep,
you know.
yep. I share. I share that. Again, it's beer madness, and we just pointed out that one case there at the New Amsterdam Hospital where Councillor Colin Moore pointed out. Why is it people are being tested for COVID and people are being housed who are infected in the same area in Burbies there? Quite interesting. Closer to home at your end, Vintroy, we saw just this morning a very strong statement coming out of German Figuera, who is the shadow minister for youth, sports, and culture. Again, lots of sporting activities happening with no regards to COVID-19, flies in the face of COVID-19 regulations and protocols and so forth. And I just want to read two parts of it, and we can have a go at it. Uh, German Figuera, member of parliament, says, with the extremely high rate of increase in cases of COVID 19 here in Guyana, it is most mind boggling and unthinkable that the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, the National Sports Commission, the Director of Sports, the Guyana Football Federation, the Ministry of Health, and most importantly, the National COVID Task Force would give permission for the hosting of the GFF and the Kashif and Shanghai year end Fusal competition. What is most concerning, MP Figueres said, what is most concerning and very worrying is that while other groups are refused permission to hold similar events, the PPPC is willing to risk the lives of Guyanese to permit a group that supports its political agenda, yep, to host a super spreader event amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. In our view, no group should be given permission at this time, but the government seems committed to enriching its elite family, friends, and cronies at the expense and lives of the people of Guyana. The government needs to end this practice and not politicize COVID-19. That is German Figueroa, again, the shadow minister for youth, sports, and culture. MP Jordan.
You know, I fully endorse the statements of my colleague there. And shall I tell you, no activity that the PPP um, have on stream is either cancelled or postponed because of this high COVID-19 numbers, cases. They continue just as per normal with what they have planned.
Correct
They
is
go
right.
about as if nothing is wrong. They do things on a daily basis from a governmental level, at the national level, in the regional level. They operate just as per normal, as if the numbers are one and two in region in the region.
True.
And with German highlighting how they go about giving the services and the permission to their acolytes, to their people who are perceived to be their supporters and their friends, is nothing new. I can tell you in this region, a number of churches and small events and these things, people have activities, had activities rather during the course of the holiday, and they turn them down or they either stop what was happening. I'm not against the police and the task force doing its job, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying you cannot stop one set and allow the other to do the same
Exactly.
thing or
Do it in a
even
fair
worse
way. Yep.
than what the others are doing. It is ridiculous. And then you still want to sing the tune about one guy and not caring for people. Come on, stop this hypocrisy. The nonsense must stop. We're in 2022, man.
Yep.
You
Yep.
get one with one hand, a set of people holding like Kashib and all the lights, holding large events. When you go to Bath Settlement, Sherrod, you go there on a Sunday evening. You go come tonight, and you can have a ring program from 6, and you can go all the way to midnight, and nobody touches them. The commander there not touches the special or the chosen sets of people. You
Mm-hmm.
go to
Mm-hmm.
certain areas along Bushlat, right where not far from where I'm living. The police dare not trouble them. You go to Rosina, it's the same thing that is happening. But you go to a village that is not perceived to be or not known to be supporters of the PPP. They have the police harassing the people with strict instructions. You must go and shut them off. You must go and stop them. I'm saying if you want to stop, stop all.
Wow, wow, wow. And
You understand?
that's
You
what
stop
upsets,
all.
yeah, that's what upsets Guyanese people is the inequities, the unfairness in the system. And it's
Right.
plain as day, whether it's the hosting of events or is it distribution of COVID cash grant, is it distribution of flood grant, is it the distribution of hampers, hamper nation, right? Is the unfairness of which in the manner in which this installed regimes operate, is the unfairness. And like you, I support what MP Figueres says. No sporting activity should be happening now with this spike in COVID-19. It's madness. It's madness. MP Jordan, what do you tell people of this country at this particular juncture? Listen to me, folks. This thing's serious. We were talking to Doctor, what's his name, Rohan Sumar recently, and he said on this COVID-19 issue, everybody in this country has the opportunity of contracting this virus if we don't take care. MP Jordan, you can imagine in the US, you have more than 1 million people who have lost their life to COVID-19 already, dead. Could you imagine
Right.
that in our country? We country is only 450,000 since I born. No, sorry, we had 750,000 since I born,
750,000.
right? And 1 million is more than that. Now
Right.
we're talking that Guyana could become a wasteland, right? A desolation
Right.
if we don't take real cognizance of what's happening. Thankfully, some of our brothers and sisters live in far-flung areas and they don't have too many contact with coastlanders or even with each other in those like deep
Mhm.
south, Rupununi and so forth. But for
Right.
the rest of us, cat it we dinner here. It reminds me of an article coming out of Demar Raves, one of the columns, Peeping Tom, who said that the government COVID management and COVID governance is so poor. He says we gotta get to affairs in order because any day now we could kick off. Anyone we. The
Yeah.
situation so
And
lax on the ground. MP?
right. And Sharon, I would want to take this opportunity to, seriously speak to Guyanese. We must be protectors of ourselves. Don't look to the government any longer. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot
Mm-hmm.
protect us.
True, true.
I would want to say to guys, adhere to those. WHO guideline that I set out. Try your best, avoid crowds, avoid being in the public as a matter of fact if it is not necessary. You can restrict yourself to your homes, to small gatherings, to small meetings, probably to just a supermarket nearby you and so on. Restrict yourself. Use um, your mask not only when you're out, but use it correctly. Um, Ensure that you wash your hands, you sanitize. Because the thing about it, you mentioned 750,000 people, Sharon. But in one day we had 1,000 cases. So you tell me if we only 750,000
Yep.
with a
Yep.
thousand cases per day, if we have an outbreak now and people falling sick and dying rapidly, in less than a week or two, that 750,000 will fall down significantly. And as you're saying, Guyana will be a desolate place, wasteland, you know, because people will die. But I want Guyanese to understand that it is imperative that they know it takes you, your family, and your loved ones, those that surround you, to protect yourself. Don't wait on the government to do it for you. Don't go about doing things haphazardly, going into the public without your mask. Don't go to these large functions. Don't go to the parties. Let us cut back on it for a week, a two, a month. Let us bring the numbers down. I beg Guyanese today, bring the numbers down. We must thank God also that we have the large numbers, but we're not having that large amount of deaths, you know. But we need to be careful because if it should be that the deaths start counting,
Yep.
it will be very, very serious.
Yep.
So I'm saying to guys, let's not get to that place. Let us bring these numbers down. Let us take the necessary precautions, protect ourselves, protect our families, and so that we can survive this IHU, Omicron, Delta, and all the likes. Let us try to survive it and get past. And like the health minister, who is never knowledgeable of whether we have a variant in the country or what, don't let us not be like him. Let us always act prepared and always act as if we know the dangers that lies ahead. Let us take the necessary precaution and live a sensible Guyanese.
Fantastic. And I was there last evening. I was just, so just wanting some fresh air. Took in a movie at Movie Town with my wife, and I was very impressed with the seating accommodation and them asking folks for the vaccine cards and so on. Very impressed. The theaters weren't filled at all. You had lots of space for persons to be socially distant. And kudos to Movie Town for that. But the scene at the sports hall last evening, I think it was with the Fusol competition there. My God, my God, my God. Don't snatch the wheel, Jesus. Snatch the whole vehicle. Abba Father, snatch the
Mm,
whole vehicle. That's where we are. We have to be wiser. And I see some folks here saying, don't go, don't go, don't go to the sporting events. These folks aren't thinking about you and me,
right,
and we gotta think about ourselves and our own safety.
right. And right there, Sharon, I believe it is the point where the government should come out now and start imposing these measures upon the promoters for these activities, be it sporting and whatever it might be, and start imposing penalties upon them.
Yep.
Bring back the curfew to the
Yep.
6 o'clock.
Yep.
Close these unnecessary places. Bring the numbers down in another 2 or 3 weeks, and then let us see assess the situation and go again.
Correct.
It would not hurt the business sector to save another 100, 200 lives in 3 weeks, man. It will not hurt. Each life in this country has a value to it, and one that is far too many.
Correct, 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 correct. Fantastic point. Fantastic points overall, MP Vince Roy Jordan. I'll give you the any closing thoughts as we look as we draw closer to program time.
Well, sure. Thank you very much again for having me. And I want to say to Guyanese, as we go to this through this new year, let us develop a different mentality from that of last year. Let us think of peace. Let us think of goodwill. Let us think positive. And whilst we thinking positive, let us think safety from this COVID-19, and let us hold every action of this installed government, hold it to in keen account, so that when the time comes, I will call it the day of reckoning, we will boot them and put them in the place that they ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a
Mm-hmm.
new year, and it's a year of serious business.
Mm-hmm.
And Guyanese need to take stock of all that is happening on a daily basis and hold those um, actions of this government in a very secure place, so that when the time comes for us to take action against them, we will know what to do and they will know what to do. And I was listening, I think it was Rhonda or you the other day, I think it was yesterday, the day before, and you spoke, you made reference about the participatory way in elections. And Guyanese need to clearly review how they do voting at elections, how they do support. And when they review that, they will see it is not just to go and cast a vote because your grandfather, great grandfather, uncle, auntie, Aji, Mama, whoever used to vote for the PPP, so I go and continue the trend. Look at what is happening in society. Look at how
Yep.
they
Yep.
manage this country. Look at the situations and the things that are really affecting the population at large. Assess that and then make your vote wisely. Put that against what the AP and the AFC would have done. And in closing, I want to say, Sharon, make the right decision in soon time to come, because we have to get rid of this installed regime in order to have a better and safer Guyana.
Yep, yep. MP Jordan, just before you go, I've been watching, and we're going to talk a little bit about this in another program, the elections and how they're shaping up in Barbados. And it's interesting. Prime Minister of Barbados, Mayor Motley, is running on the theme, "It is safer with Mayor." And I was listening to her early on before we came on, outlining several areas in which they push back against COVID-19, strong lockdown measures, good healthcare system, and so forth. And
Right.
it occurred to me, as a Manzo Walton, this year MP would say, it has occurred to me, if Catfish them were running an election now, what would they run on? Could they say it is safer with us? Could they say that this country has been safer with us, in relation to crime? Could they say this country is safer with them in regards to COVID-19? And that's another program that
Mm,
we're going to have.
yes. And I will be more than happy to join you, Sharon.
Fantastic. Thank you very much again, MP Vincent Jordan. I know you have a very busy Sunday being a member of parliament, being a Christian and a practicing Christian, and officiating at different things at your end. We really want to thank you for spending this time with us, for keeping Guyanese people around the world informed. Thanks, my brother.
It has been a pleasure, Sharon. And do have a blessed Sunday, and say hello to my Barbician friend, your good wife.
Will do, will do. Thanks very, very much, MP Vince Jordan,
Okay,
once more. Folks, that's it for our program today. But before you go, we got to share with you our quote of the day. We got to share our quote of the day, and it is taken from the Roman poet Horace. The Roman poet Horace, 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 and it's from a collection called the Epistles. And Horace simply says, "We are just statistics." He was a PPP, apparently, born to consume resources. Because that's how the people see we, as just numbers. Who dead? The installed vice president said that. Who dead? Horace says, the Roman poet, "We are just statistics, born to consume resources." He says that, the explanation of the quotation says that, as the preeminent Latin poet in the early period of the Roman Empire, Horace had established his literary reputation with his first book, Satires. That was the name of it, Satires. One satire in the second book portrays a mythical god, rather a mythical Greek hero called Ulysses, seeking to amass riches and heaps of money after the many suitors of his wife, Penelope, had consumed all his goods while he was away fighting the Trojan War. In the first book of the epistles, Horace returns to these same characters, but instead of satirizing them as morally corrupt, he adheres to Homer's account of their virtuous qualities especially in extolling Ulysses for his strength of mind in resisting the entrapments of the sirens, right, of the sirens and circles. In contrast, Penelope's suitors are described as useless drones who live only to consume resources. The above quotation, or the quotation we've mentioned, suggests that all people are equally at the mercy of their continual need for resources. But Horace is certainly not counseling despair. On the contrary, Ulysses is shown to exemplify the moral virtues espoused in the Epicurean philosophy, with its focus on living modestly and avoiding the pursuit of empty desires that can never be satisfied. Horace's advice is highly pertinent in today's consumer societies. We are just statistics born to consume resources. That's the quote of the day, folks. That's today's quote. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Guys, you know, we say repeatedly, we cannot do this without you. We need your partnership to keep these programs going, whether it is below the belt, whether it's in the ring, whether it's our website, and the other programs we have in train to bring them to fruition. And we're thankful for all of those of you who've already come on board and you've been helping us in tremendous ways. Thanks to each and every one of you. We got Cash App available. Our Cash App handle is in the ring 592. You can make a donation there. Our Cash App handle is in the ring 592. And we encourage people to partner with us on a monthly basis. Make a small donation on a monthly basis to help our programs to keep going. At Cash App, our Cash App handle again is the dollar sign in the ring 592. At PayPal, we are in the ring 592 at gmail.com. At PayPal, we're in the ring 592 at gmail.com. We're available via MMG as well. That's the local Cash App, the GT&T system, the MMG system. Our number there is 627-6963, 627-6963, and we're available via Western Union, and we're available via MoneyGram as well. Available via Western Union and MoneyGram. You need any guidance on this or any other concerns you might have, the number you want on WhatsApp is that very MMG number, 627-6963. I see you, Leonard Jacobs. I see you, Maureen Coppin Williams. I see you guys out there. Thanks for joining us. Before you go, hundreds of you are still tuned in. Ensure you share the live stream. We want to see those emojis as well. Where are those emojis? I'm not seeing the emojis. We want to see how you guys feel out there, this catfish regime. Sandrine Beard, good to see you. Romy Leander, good to see you. Sandra Hanover, Mark Doris, good to see you. Thanks again, MP Vince Roy, Jordan, for being our guest today. Good to see you, Auntie Sandra and John. We see you there. Romy Leander, we see you. Rowena Williams, how you doing? How things are where you guys are? Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. Wherever you guys are, stay safe. Stay safe. Remember to social distance, wear your mask, sanitize. Practice all of the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. Clear Alexis, Charmley Richmond, we see you there as well. Guys, give the live stream a share before you go, and we want to see those emojis. I want to see those emojis, guys. Don't let me get complacent, you know. We want as many persons to receive this valid and credible information across the world, around the region, and across this country as well. Share the live stream. It'll come up in some of your friends' timeline, and they can tune in, watch back the broadcast. So those of you who come and watch the broadcast, all of the information applies to you. Partner with us, share the live stream, show the emojis, and we hope that this content has reached your expectation. You have benefited from it in some way. Thanks again to our guest today, our gracious guest, the Honorable Vince Roy Jordan, Member of Parliament. Good to see you guys. We're back tomorrow. Monday. Tomorrow, Monday, we're back with our podcast again at 12. And then we're in the ring at 8. Guys, stay safe and relax. Listen to some nice music, drink some fine wine, eat some good food, repose this Sunday afternoon with a nice book, a novel, biography or something, and just take it easy. Be gentle with yourselves, folks, on this Sunday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. That's our time for our program Below the Belt. Thanks for joining. Who vex? Who vex lose? See you tomorrow on tomorrow's podcast. Thanks for joining us from around the world. Good day, guys. Share the live stream and show those emojis as well. Stay safe.